Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about Sylver Valis, the man, the mystery, the crazy. Um, we talked about him a little bit before and how he was Orpheol's kind of assistant. He took over after Orpheol left the building, so to speak, and for 20 years continued the research and finalized and finished and produced results. Something that Orpheol was never able to do before. On until Asha, really, but after that, he kind of left the building and left the Defiants to their own devices. And Sylver decided to take up the mantle and continue the research on ascension by machine. And like I said, he ultimately prevailed. We never met him really, except for the Port Scion, and afterwards saying how he was going to take up the mantle and continue the research and finish it. But like, keep in mind, we zipped through in the past video when we talked about Asha Katari's ascension and the civil unrest, and then talking about 20 years, going through 20 years of pre-game history. Um, we spent a lot of time in the past explaining why the world of the Ascended is in turmoil when we go back to the past, as a defined. I think Guardians, they start their starting zone is in the present, but like I said previously, Defiance start out in the future. However, let's talk about Sylver now because we already talked about the past. We already talked about, millennia in the past few videos, and now we are moving forward. So, Sylver Valis. He is a something called a nalthema, a prodigy, a crazy man. Anathema is, we're going to talk about that in a bit, but it's in short, it's basically an eth who does not have a particular tie to the spirit world. That's pretty much Sylver in a nutshell. He's a prodigy. He's crazy. He's an eth, but not really. In terms of his civilization doesn't consider him so much of an eth. He's an anathema. Um, for the longest time, I'll put it this way. Like, for the longest time, even though, like, I'm in the starting zone right now. I just came through here, right? So I just came through here, and the first thing that you encounter, the first quest that you encounter, is with Sylver here. For the longest time, however, I did not I didn't realize that this was the man that I had, that I had met. I didn't realize that there was a difference between Sylver and Orpheol. I didn't even know what they looked like for the longest time. Their differences, their physical differences. I couldn't differentiate between them because, to be honest, they're like two peas in a pod to me. They're both, basically Sylver took up the research that Orpheol started. So technically they're kind of one and the same person to past me. But to present Sylver a little bit better, I thought I would go through some of the lore books that you find in the game. One of them is about basically is a journal that Sylver used to keep when he was a child. Um, so here's the text. The name Sylver Valis is inscribed in the front of this book, as well as the note age 12. The child's rough scrawl suggests that this was written by someone just learning to write, a reminder of how slowly elves age. Page 2, when you turn the page, my name is Sylver. My mother's name is Dianora. My father's name is Cleon. My sister's name is Issy. Issy. We live in Atia. Now, Atia is, if you look, oh my god, really? If you look at the map, oh shit. Okay, I'll have to log out here. Blah blah blah. If you look at the map, Shard. Let's go to Deepwood. Let's go to Morgul. Oh, great. I'm still logged in there. Wait 20 seconds. But basically, if you look at the map of the Mythosia map, right? Atia is on Ember Isle. It's the basically the seat of S civilization in Ember Isle, and it's a big temple city. Does it work now? Sweet. I'm in Meridian. Oh, different loading screen now. As you go through storylines, the loading screens that you encounter, especially uh, in your sanctuary zone, the loading screens differ. All right, so if you go and check out Ember Isle, Atia is this town, and it's a big temple city right next to the volcano of where Melforge and ultimately, what's the other dragon's name? I forget her. Oh my god. How can I forget? How can I forget the other dragon? Melforge and Lathis. There we go. So, where Melforge and Lathis were locked for hundreds of years, millennia even, under the volcano of Mount Carcera. So, anyways, Sylver. I don't think he's in here. Is he? Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. Let's go up. I want to go up. Is this the top? No. Let's go down, and then let's go to the top. Top floor. There we go. Is Sylver there? He should be. Faceless man? No, but he should be upstairs if I remember correctly. Correct? Or is it Orpheal? That's the thing. Like, I always kept confusing. It's Orpheal. Okay, so Orpheal's up here. Empyrean soldier. Okay, so he is not here, Sylver. And that is, let me just explain, that is basically why I always kept confusing Orpheal with Sylver. Now let's go and see Sylver for real. Oh, different loading screen, see? Okay, so Wolfsbane. Gaia, level 1. Amazing. This is the Life Factory, by the way. The Life Factory in Terminus. Blah, blah, blah. I know all this stuff. Alright, so let's check out Sylver Valis in Terminus. Whoa. Right, so, my father and mother, so let's continue the journal entry. My name is Sylver, my mother's name is Dianora, my father's name is Cleon, my sister's name is Issy. We live in Atia, on Ember Isle. My father and mother are both priests in the temple. My sister is going to be a priestess like them. I am not going to be a priest. The spirits don't like me. I can't make pacts with them. They run away if I get close. High Priestess Mona says that I smell like rotting fruit to the spirits. I don't know why I am rotten. I guess I fell off the tree too early. The spirits like all other Kelari except me. Page 3. My father says I'm cursed. My mother says I'm special. My father doesn't like her to say that. My sister laughs when she says that, but she says there are no other Kelari like me, and that makes me special. When everyone else is in the temple, I read books. Scribe Hazio gives them to me. He says I read and write better than any other Kelari my age. I like books, and I like to write. I don't mind that I get to read while everyone else makes packs. I think my mom is right. It makes me special. So, as you'll remember, the Eth used to be high elves, right? So they used to live with the high elves. We're just like the other high elves, but then they decided. they decided that the gods weren't acting directly enough in their lives. And so they started to make pacts with spirits, and that's when the high elves became like disgusted with the Kalari, the people who later became Kalari, the people who started to make pacts with the spirits. They thought it was preposterous. They thought it was, um, you know, completely an offense to the gods. They thought, this is not the way that we are supposed to revere our gods. So they drove them away, or something like that. Or the elves decided to, leave peacefully, leave them to their own devices. They thought, you know what, the spirits act more directly. The spirits aid us more directly. We are more in control of the outcome because we don't just sit around and pray to something that may or may not act. The spirits, when we make pacts with them, they act. Um, Now, what makes Valis so different from the others of his race, the Kalari, and what drove him to the pursuit of technical learning, is that he is a nalthema. What this means is that, unlike nearly all the other Kalari, he can't make pacts with the Talaran spirits. Um, in the journal entries, it talked about High Priestess Mona. Mona was basically the leader of the of the Kalari on Ember Isle in Atia. She is the one who, to this day, is still the leader of the Kalari in Meridian, and overseas and so on. She is the one who is still the representative of the Kalari. She is the one, I think I'm going to talk about her later. She is the one who uh, decided to uh, take the Kalari with her to Meridian, to Fortune Shore, to save her race because when the dragons started to wake up, they the water became dangerous. Achilleos was loose or something along the lines. So Achilleos was not loose. Sorry, he was making tornadoes and tsunamis and stuff like that, it's killing everybody. And she decided to lead her people away from the Isle of Ember Isle to safety on Fortune Shore. Of course, a hell of a lot of people did not make it, but that's why to this day she's still the leader because she was their beacon of hope. Um, right. So Mona, and I guess she was nice with them because she explained to him why didn't make pacts with him, why the spirits didn't make pacts with them. Um, she, I guess, I don't know if she actually liked him because she says like rotting fruit, you smell like rotting fruit to the spirits. Uh, I guess it's a childish way of explaining it. I don't know if it was a mean way of explaining it to him to say like, oh, you smell like shit. But I guess, she tried to make sense of his confusion. His father obviously wasn't really on his side. His mother was. His sister wasn't really on his side. But Scribe Hesio, we'd never meet him in game. But Scribe Hesio was on his side. He started Sylver on the path of intelligence as opposed to spirit speaking. Valis lived in a small village with his mother, a priestess. Well, with his mother, his father, and his sister. Um, but she is the one who actually, mothered him and treated him like he should be, which is, with respect. She spent all of her time at the temple, but because the spirits would not talk to Sylver, he didn't attend, so he never actually really went in the temples and attended the spirits or spoke to them or did any servitude or anything like that. He was a lonely child, like staying home, staying with the scribe. He was bullied by others his own age. So he spent most of his time reading. He channeled his loneliness into study, reading everything he could get his hands on, and eventually becoming one of the most skillful eldritch machinists that the Defiants have on their team. He was constantly taking things apart, trying to see how they worked, and putting them back together again. But on the other hand, he's kind of a reckless, careless figure as well. He doesn't really care for field tests, which you kind of encounter when you're questing in here in Terminus, but also beyond when you encounter him in the Life Factory near Meridian in the past. When he sends you back, you encounter like a hologram picture recording of him. He's kind of careless. Like he's kind of a happy-go-lucky. It's kind of weird knowing that his childhood was so depressing that he turned out this jovial, this carefree attitude kind of person. But he did end up being, a little bit reckless at the same time. Like, I don't care what people think. So, his upbringing really informs his personality in many, many ways. He looks upon prototypes with disdain. He prefers, life testing, I guess. Some people would say that Tryon, the company, is kind of like that. Let's just say that and leave it at that. He would rather build something and judge its worth by whether it actually works. I know a lot of CEOs are like that. Um, and to protect himself from the experiments that don't work, he wears something called a personal field disruptor that shields him from any blasts. Um, I think that would be his glasses. Hang on, let him turn. So I think the glasses he's wearing would be that personal field disruptor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, yeah, so because of his sheltered childhood, he's quite naive, and love is a mystery to him. He is, when we encounter him later on, he's kind of infatuated with Asha. And she doesn't lead him on, but she doesn't like push him away either. It's quite endearing. He's very endearing. Like knowing that he's so careless and carefree and reckless, you can't, and yet naive, and yet very like childish in his behavior. You can't help but like him. It's weird. Like you want to hate him, but at this because everything that he does so recklessly, and he creates experiments without even testing. So you want to hate him, but at the same time, you can't help but like him. So that is Sylver Valis in a nutshell. Eldritch, superstar, Eldritch machinist, defiant, powerhouse as well, because he's basically the one who finished Ascension, who finished creating the machine-born ascended. So that is that. And if you have any questions, leave a message, leave a comment. Sorry, leave a comment, and I'll try to get back at you. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.